Hey guys, welcome. I am Rob Mendenhall with the Forge Training Center, and I just wanted to take a minute and talk about the upcoming event that we have on September 25th, the dealing with the threat class or workshop, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be about 3 hours, so we're starting at noon on the 25th, is a Saturday, and we're dealing with the threat, whether that be a knife threat, being held at gunpoint, somebody holding a rifle, somebody has a bat, a weapon of some sort, they're holding you, hugging you, taking you down, whatever the case may be, they're threatening you. And it can be an active threat where they're demanding something from you, and it can be a passive threat where they might not have done anything yet, but you're concerned, you feel threatened. So how are we going to deal with that? How do we deal with these different situations, and how do we deal with them properly, right? One of the biggest things that I run into or I hear from people is, well, I have my gun, I have my mace, I'm not worried about it, I don't feel like I need to train because I have these two tools. Well, I have been in situations, me personally, where I have felt threatened by an individual, but it didn't justify me hitting them with pepper spray or drawing my gun, right? Now, whether I had my gun or not, that doesn't matter. I think some people hide behind it in a false sense of security. What the goal is of this course, of this time, dealing with the threat, is to build a level of confidence where if you don't have any other tools, you can handle these situations. We're going to cover things like de-escalation, how to de-escalate a situation if that threat becomes more aggressive or more active. And this is kind of talking like the passive to active period, right? De-escalation. How do I avoid these hostile environments? How do I avoid these hostile people? How do I pick up a person is going to threaten me, or how do I avoid somebody who I may feel threatened? How do I avoid that situation? And then when it crosses into that active threat, how do I de-escalate that? How do I handle it the fastest, safest way possible? How do I handle it if I have people with me? And really walking through and breaking down what that looks like. And then none of those things work. We're going to hit some technique. We're going to do some knife threats from medium range, close range, some pistol threats from different angles, some rifle threats, some stick threats, somebody grabbing a hold of you and threatening you to do something, get in the car, get on the ground, give me this, give me that. And so really just, when we think of self-defense, we think of techniques, we think very small. We only think of once they've got the knife to my body, once they've got the gun in my face, once they've swung the weapon, right? But it's so much bigger than that. There's a timeline, and we're going to break that timeline down into phases. And we're really going to see about how can I do this the safest way. If I don't, we're going to learn technique, but if you can go without using the technique, how much safer you'll be, and how much your chances of survival and making it home safe without the bangs and bruises and cuts and scrapes, how that percentage goes up if we really follow that timeline. Now, sometimes you don't have the whole timeline. Sometimes you jump in, if this is my timeline and this is, I got all kinds of time and I'm paying attention to everything going on around me and I can avoid every situation. Sometimes you don't always have that much time, and you might jump in the timeline here where it's like, man, the knife's already out. They're already, give me your wallet, And so how do I handle it in that situation? So we're going to get as much as we can in 3 hours. If we can't cover all the things that we want to, we're going to bump that into a step 2 or a phase 2 where we'll recap and then hit it again, take off where we're at. So that's kind of just a quick glimpse of what we're going to cover, what you can expect. Really just dealing with the threat, dealing with how we're going to handle and break down these different situations. And if you carry, please bring your holster. Don't bring your weapon. Leave it in the car. Or I've got lockers. I'll clear you at the door. Let me know ahead of time. I'll clear you at the door and we'll lock it up. But if you do carry and you want to bring your holster, part of dealing with a threat is knowing when the right time is for you to go to a tool, a more lethal tool or a non-lethal tool, and when it's appropriate, right? But we're going to focus on trying to handle these things without a lethal response. If non-lethal is one thing, but how we can handle them as fast as possible and use the non-lethal ways of handling as much as possible. And the reason that this topic got brought up is because, one, have had a few students that have come and brought it to my attention, hey, I was put in this uncomfortable situation. Using the word uncomfortable, I would go ahead and I'm willing to say that you're threatened a little bit, right? I've had students say that they were actively threatened, right? Somebody came to me, they demanded this is how I needed to respond. And with me working in the private security sector, typically when people come up on me and it's, hey, you're not supposed to be here, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave, it's automatically escalated. And so I have been in situations where we're going to apply some of those techniques. So make sure you get signed up. Check us out on Eventbrite. We'll talk to you guys soon.